Well, hello there. You've caught me in the middle of my lunch here at our offices for the Northwestern Minnesota Synod. I'm Pastor Bill Tesh, and I serve as your bishop here in Northwestern Minnesota. If you grew up in the church or with any religious tradition, probably, I'm sure you have a tradition of gratitude, a practice of gratitude before every meal, perhaps at bedtime, and maybe as part of a daily prayer. Well, this time of year also gets us thinking about all the things that we're grateful for. And that's true for me and my staff as well, as we think about our shared ministry with you, the people of the Northwestern Minnesota Synod. So many things for which we're grateful. I'm eager to share those with you. Hello again. As I mentioned over lunch, this is that season when our thoughts and our hearts turn towards gratitude. Not a day goes by that we on our Synod staff are not in some way grateful for the 80,000 faithful people of the Northwestern Minnesota Synod and the hundreds of leaders and the 220 congregations. We're grateful for your generosity, of course, your generosity that makes ministry happen right there in your local communities, but then also through your mission support, which is that portion of your general offering that your congregation forwards on to the Synod and us then on to the wider church for our shared mission around the world. Through your mission support, you are literally serving God everywhere around the world. We send about half of the mission support that we receive onto our church-wide organization, that's then used in world missions and ministries around the world. But much of that also then comes right back here to Northwestern Minnesota for ministries that we all care about. One example is People's Church in Bemidji. This is a congregation that serves mostly indigenous people and also people who are living with the realities of homelessness. Each year they serve 200 discrete individuals, and on a nightly basis throughout the year they provide 7,000 beds to people in need of shelter. We also, through your generosity, are able to be present with young people in college in places like Crossroads Lutheran Campus Ministry here in Moorhead at MSUM. Through that ministry, people are accompanied as they discern God's call for their future life and vocation, and as they dig into the deep questions of life. Thank you on their behalf for your support. You also support ministries like Rural Revival. Rural Revival is our Synod's way of accompanying rural congregations as they discover a new vision for their future in ministry. Through your generosity, dozens of communities around our Synod are finding renewed hope, resiliency, and vitality to engage their neighbor and to serve God in new ways in their communities. You are also there in ministries like a community called Grace. That's a ministry in Bemidji that serves people who are curious about their faith, who want to follow Jesus, but maybe haven't found a home in a traditional congregation. Thanks to you, about 30 people are being served as they gather for prayer, for worship, and for service, and as they explore the deep questions of life and faith together. Through them, we're learning how to engage populations across our Synod who maybe don't have an immediate place or home in our congregations. And finally, I want you to know that we are just grateful for you. If you think about Northwestern Minnesota as this vast mission field, we care about every community from Alexandria to Warroad to Moorhead to Bemidji and all of those in between. But we cannot be effective together in serving God and loving our neighbor and following Jesus Christ unless we entrust portions of this mission field to each other. And you are they to whom the local mission field in your community has been entrusted. And I know for a fact that you have been faithful for that ministry for many, many years. In many cases, for 150 years or more. And so on behalf of all of us, not just our staff and Synod Council, but all 80,000 siblings in Christ across Northwestern Minnesota Synod, thank you. Thank you for your faithfulness in God's mission and for your generosity. And a blessed Christmas and Epiphany to you.